How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Positive Mindset Podcast, where we come together to raise our vibration, lift our perspective, and build that positive mindset. My name is Henry, and I'm so thankful to have each and every one of you here today because in this episode, we're going to talk about a perspective that if you adapt, not only will it give you that positive energy, but it will give you the path to live the life that you desire. But before we get started, we're going to take a few moments to slow down, zero in. We're going to take some deep, healing, meditative breaths to help us align on the frequency that we want in our lives. So pick a word. It could be love, joy, happiness, abundance, whatever frequency you want. And we're going to take a deep breath in. And as you're breathing in, you're going to say this word over and over and over again. Really charge yourself up with that energy. And then as you're holding your breath, visualize yourself doing something in that frequency. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take a deep breath in. And out. We're going to take another deep breath. This one's about alignment, about getting ourselves in receiving mode so that we can receive the message that we need to hear to get us in that positive state. So just imagine that you are surrounded by the most healing, uplifting energy that's meant specifically for you. It could have a certain color, a certain taste, a certain smell, however you imagine it. And when you breathe it in, it's going to charge you up. It's going to break down the negativity, the blocks, the weight, everything that's just been holding you back. And once you exhale, anything that no longer resonates with you will leave you and you'll be in a more positive state. So let's go ahead and take another deep breath in. And out. Well, before we get started, if there's something that you enjoy from this episode, if you're on Spotify or YouTube, you can actually leave a comment below. Not only do those comments mean so much to me because it lets me know what you take away from each episode, but somebody else might read that and it might inspire them to give it a listen. I want to make this the #1 mindset podcast in the world, and the best way to do that is together. So whether you leave a comment or share it with somebody, it means the absolute world to me, and I could never thank you enough. But let's dive into today's episode. So this perspective, this one's powerful. If you allow it to be, it'll be extremely powerful for you. So when someone wants to do something, most of us find ourselves people pleasing. It's been a popular term as of late, being called a people pleaser because it's something we do. We think about what other people would think of us if we did something. And there's degrees of it, of course. There's some of us where our whole lives are consumed with making this path of doing what other people or what we think other people would want. And then some of us, maybe it's on a lighter basis. But when you're doing that, you are creating a version of you that is built from other people's eyes. And when you do that, you'll be empty because there's nothing within you that's being built that's in alignment with you. You see, you have a calling within you to be something, and you might be so distant from your path that you may not be feeling it. But there's a way back. And it's adopting this perspective. And this is going to be tough for people that are around you. This is going to be tough for the people that you've been people pleasing. But those that truly love you and those that have an understanding of self within them will be accepting of this. And those that aren't, it's okay. It's okay if they're going to be upset with how you use your life going forward. It's okay if they don't understand. It's okay if they judge. Because everything that they're doing is from their perspective and it only truly affects them. But the more you go down the path, the more you trust this process, the more you'll be fulfilled within. The more goodness that will be within you. The more that positivity, that goodness, that healing is within you, the more you can give to the world. You see, if you're innately a people pleaser, you will give what you have always. We don't need to train that muscle. We need to train our ability to give to ourselves so that we actually have something of meaning to give. So this is what the perspective is. What if you knew right now, or you could make a wish or talk to a genie or pray, and if you knew for a fact this would be the case, that everybody would be supportive of you doing what you want to do, and everybody would be resistant or unhappy if you try to do something out of alignment? what would you change in your life? What would you change if you knew everybody at work would love whatever idea, whatever shift you wanted to make? If you shared it and you did it, they would all be supportive. What would happen if you told your spouse who you wanted to be truly, how you wanted to live your life, your expectations of them, what you want that whole thing to be like, that whole dynamic? If you were to say all of it and they were in favor of every single one, what would you do? Friends, family members, educators, like all these people, if they were extremely supportive, in fact, that's the only thing they had was support for you being you, what would you differently in your life? What would you do differently? And if you don't know, then that's where you start. I don't know. I'd have to find that out. If you were able to live your life without concern of what your perception of what other people is, meaning you're concerned about what they would think of you and how that affects you, whether you're actually concerned of the repercussions of that, or you just don't want the judgment, or whatever it is, you want to fit in, whatever the reasons are, would you be different than you are today? Would your career be different? Would your lifestyle be different? What would change? Would your jokes, your actions, your things that you love to do, would they be different if you only stayed true to you? You see, when you're on a quest for love, that healing energy, I'm not talking about love like romantic love, I'm talking about that love energy that fills you up. That feeling of the warm sun on the skin, that feeling of when you achieve something so amazing, when you're appreciated, when you work really hard and make it to somewhere, that feeling, that high frequency. When your purpose is that, you can't be self-centered, because to get that within you, you have to allow it to flow through you. So your path is one of growth and giving when you're on this trajectory, when this is what you want to do. So if you could learn to think a little bit more about self in order to give self to others, it would change your experience. So why don't you make that shift? I know it's not that easy. I know that if you start putting up boundaries or barriers or lines in the sand on certain things in your life, like people are going to reject that. Because when you do, people see what they're no longer getting from you. They don't recognize most times, there are some that know what they're doing, but in general, most people don't recognize that you are people pleasing them and that you are giving from an empty cup. So they're just getting a certain exchange from you that they're used to getting, whether, don't think of it as good or bad, because from their point of view, they may not know, they're just receiving this from you, so they must think that's who you are. And then you stop giving it, they will see what they lost. And if there's someone that's not operating on a high frequency, if there's someone that's not doing self-work within themselves, they will have a hard time accepting that. Those are the people that will tell you you've changed. And that's okay. You have changed. You're changing to yourself. You're changing to be in alignment with you. Unfortunately, you didn't do this as a kid. Nobody was there to protect you or give you the education and say, let's find out who you truly are. Not, just saying yes to everything you're saying, but only going for the pursuit for love, personal development, personal growth, working through hardship, so not facing adversity and quitting to find something easier, but actually working through. You didn't have that. That's why you're in this place right now. That's why this message is resonating with you, because you didn't have that. But now you do. You have the voice within you. That's why you found this. This is not by accident. You didn't just stumble upon this episode. Whether you've listened to my podcast for a couple days, a couple years, or this is the first time, it wasn't an accident. You are looking for something, so you're operating in a frequency, trying to find something, and it matched this message. This is not me saying this. This is me connecting with that idea, with that frequency, it coming through me and me sharing it. So if you're hearing it, that means it was meant for you to hear. You lifted yourself up to hear it. Now it's up to you on what you do next. You could hear this and decide not to act and go back to your old ways and live a life. You're not bad for doing that. You're just making a choice. And it might be the easier one. But if you stayed committed, if you decided, you know what? I'm going to design my life. I know what my experience should be. Or maybe you don't know exactly, but you want to define your life and you're going to build it. The more time you spend creating the perfect life for yourself, meaning what's aligned with you, what your heart calls you to be, what that means for the people around you. When you start designing that and living authentic to that, it'll start happening. And you will lose people in your life. They won't want to be a part of it. You will gain people in your life that are on a different frequency that you never even could see because you weren't operating on that level. This is all happening for you. The people that love you, maybe they'll have a hard time with it at first, but they will come around because love is the highest frequency. So if they're actually in that love frequency, then they will stay connected. And if they're not, that might be hard, it might be sad, but the fulfillment within you is too strong. It's too powerful. It's too important to give up for somebody else's convenience, for somebody else's safety or sanity or whatever you want to call it, for somebody else to be okay, meaning they get what they want out of you, but you don't get what you want out of you, is not a good reason to give up on your calling. You don't have goals, you have callings. You don't have desires, you have purpose. So listen to your purpose and your calling. You see, the people that will try to talk you out of it will say, well, that's just a goal. That's not, change your goal. Get a goal that's aligned with me. Let's do it together, taking you away from your calling. Other people will say, well, that's a desire. You're desiring things out of here. The grass is always greener. They're going to start saying things like that. And that can be on a low level what it is. But when you start listening to your calling, you're going to find a purpose. Purpose is much bigger than all of this. A purpose is bigger than you. Your purpose is connecting to love in your unique way. It's always expanding, so everyone needs to be on these unique paths to find it, to bring it within them. That's all it is. So going forward, assume that everybody has your best intentions at heart, that they want what's best for you beyond how it affects them. And those that do will stay in your life, and those that don't, unfortunately, will have to leave. You won't resonate anymore. You won't be on the same level anymore. Some people, it'll probably be great to see them go. Others, it will be hard. But you are worth your purpose. You are worth your calling. You are worth having an experience that you are fighting for. You are worth having a life that you truly are excited about, so that you wake up in the morning ready to go, fulfilled with people that are in alignment with you. That's what you deserve. That's what you came on this earth to be. And maybe the first half or the first portion of your life wasn't that. But that makes it even more powerful to have it now, because your experience going forward will be based upon that. So all the healing, all the love, all the growth will be the opposite of all the pain, hurt, and trauma that you've had in the past. So you will be a provider of light for people that struggle from the same things. That's a high purpose, not making sure that your coworkers are okay, that you stay small, that your spouse is okay, that you stay small, that your family's okay because you stayed small. You stayed within their bubble of comfort. You stayed in their level of frequency, so they got what they want, but you didn't get what you wanted. You have a calling, you have a purpose. It's time to listen. It's time to rise up and become the rising tide that lifts all ships. Well, thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode was impactful and gave you a different perspective on how to move forward. If you want to make sure you don't miss a single episode, make sure you subscribe to my email list. There's a link down below. It'll keep you up to date with every single episode. And if you want to follow me on social media, there's my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook group all down below. So I appreciate all the follows there. And if you're ready to level up, this is your time. This is what I do. I'm a mindset coach. I help people get these shifts. We work together every single week, one-on-one, to break down what you're going through, to get you on this 12-week program, to get you in your positive mindset so you can see things from the highest angle. If you want more information on this, you can reach out to me via Instagram, or there's a link down below. I don't have very many spots available right now, so if you're interested and you want to get started right away, now's the time to reach out. Instagram is the best way. I'm usually faster at responding there, but of course there is a link. And if you want more of that group setting, this is where everything's expanding, because there is power in numbers. There is power in hearing other people's struggles, other people's things. I do have the group Freedom Fundamentals. There's 3 levels to that program, so I can talk about all that with you. But in the entry level side, we're talking about real estate, so you can learn how to make extra money outside your job, whether you want to create a new career for yourself, a new business for yourself, or you want to pay off some debt, or just have some capital just to have to feel safe. That's what that's about. And then there's tiers when you want to get into the mindset coaching and really building the business. It's all there for you. I appreciate everybody listening today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I can't wait to talk to you next time.